Hey plant fam, welcome back to the Sprout. Today we're talking about the queen of the jungle, the Monstera, Monstera deliciosa, the Swiss cheese plant, those enormous, glossy, heart-shaped leaves with their iconic splits and holes. It's the plant that makes any room feel like a tropical paradise. And here's the good news. Despite its exotic looks, Monstera is not hard to grow. It's actually one of the most forgiving and rewarding houseplants you can own. But to get those big fenestrated leaves, the splits and holes, you need to give it the right conditions. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. Light, water, soil, humidity, temperature, fertilizing, pruning, propagation, support like moss poles, common problems, and the secrets to getting those beautiful split leaves. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We put out new plant care videos every week, and I don't want you to miss the next one. Also, drop a comment below. Do you have a Monstera? How big is it? How many splits does it have? I'd love to hear about it. Now let's get into it. First, let's talk about what makes Monstera special. Monstera deliciosa is native to the tropical rainforests of southern Mexico and Central America. In the wild, it's a climbing plant. It grows up trees using its aerial roots to attach itself to the bark. As it climbs higher, getting more light, the leaves develop more splits and holes. Those splits and holes have a name: fenestrations. They're not damage, they're an adaptation. They allow wind and light to pass through to the lower leaves. Young Monsteras have solid, heart-shaped leaves. As the plant matures and gets more light, the fenestrations appear. So if your Monstera has solid leaves with no splits, it's telling you it needs more light or more maturity. Now, let's talk about light. Monstera needs bright, indirect light. In its natural habitat, it grows under the canopy of taller trees, so it gets dappled, filtered light, not direct sun. An east or west-facing window is perfect. A few feet back from a south-facing window also works well. Direct sun will burn the leaves, causing yellow or brown patches that look like sunburn. Too little light, and the plant will grow slowly. The leaves will stay small, solid, and dark green with no fenestrations. The stems will get leggy, stretching toward the light. So find that sweet spot. Bright, indirect light gives you the biggest, most split leaves. Now let's talk about temperature. Monstera likes it warm. Keep it between 65 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It can handle down to 60 degrees, but growth will slow. Below 50 degrees, the plant will suffer damage. Keep it away from cold drafts, air conditioning vents, and cold windowsills in winter. Sudden temperature changes can cause leaf damage. Now let's talk about humidity. Monstera appreciates humidity. In the rainforest, humidity is often 60 to 80%. In our homes, it's often much lower, especially in winter. The signs of low humidity are brown leaf edges and leaves that have trouble unfurling. To increase humidity, use a humidifier near the plant. Group it with other plants, or set the pot on a pebble tray filled with water. Misting is not very effective and can lead to fungal spots on the leaves. A humidifier is the best investment for your Monstera. Now let's talk about watering. Monstera likes its soil to dry out a bit between waterings. It does not like to stay soggy. Overwatering is the fastest way to kill it. Here's my rule. Water when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil feels dry. Stick your finger in the soil. If it's dry at your first knuckle, it's time to water. In most homes, that means watering about once a week in spring and summer, and every 10 to 14 days in fall and winter. When you water, do it thoroughly until water runs out of the drainage holes. Empty the saucer. Never let your Monstera sit in standing water. Use room temperature water. Cold water can shock the roots. And if possible, use filtered or rainwater. Monstera is sensitive to chlorine and fluoride in tap water, which can cause brown leaf tips. Now let's talk about soil. Monstera needs well-draining, chunky soil. Regular potting mix is too dense. Here's my recipe. Take 2 parts standard indoor potting mix, 1 part perlite, and 1 part orchid bark. This creates a light, airy mix that mimics the forest floor debris where monsteras grow naturally. It holds moisture but drains quickly and lets air reach the roots. The pot must have drainage holes. Terracotta pots work well because they breathe. Plastic pots work too, but be more careful with watering. Now let's talk about support. This is one of the most important things Monstera owners miss. In the wild, Monstera climbs. Indoors, without support, it will sprawl. The stems will grow sideways, taking up a lot of floor space. The leaves will be smaller. To get a big, upright, impressive Monstera, give it something to climb. A moss pole is the best choice. It's a pole wrapped in sphagnum moss. The aerial roots will attach to it. You can also use a wooden stake or a trellis. As the plant grows, tie the main stem to the pole with soft plant ties. Do not tie the leaf stems. Those move to follow the light. Within a few months, the aerial roots will grab onto the pole and your Monstera will start growing upward. The leaves will get bigger and more fenestrated. Now let's talk about aerial roots. Those long, brown, wiry roots growing from the stem are aerial roots. They're not a problem. They're how Monstera climbs and absorbs moisture from the air. You can leave them alone, you can guide them into the moss pole or into the soil, or you can cut them off. Cutting them won't hurt the plant, but the plant will grow new ones. If you want a tidy look, tuck them back into the pot. Now let's talk about fertilizing. Monstera is a fast grower in good conditions. It needs fuel. During spring and summer, feed it once a month with a balanced liquid fertilizer like 10-10-10 or 20-20-20, diluted to half strength. Do not fertilize in fall and winter. If you see brown leaf edges, you may be over-fertilizing. Flush the soil with plain water. Now let's talk about pruning. Pruning keeps your Monstera shaped and healthy. Remove any yellow, brown, or damaged leaves at any time. Cut them at the base of the leaf stem. If your plant is getting too tall or wide, you can prune the top. Cut the main stem just above a node. That's the bump where a leaf and aerial root grow. The plant will branch out from that point. And the piece you cut off, you can propagate it. Now let's talk about propagation. Monstera is very easy to propagate. Take a cutting that includes at least one node and one leaf. Put it in a jar of water, making sure the node is submerged but the leaf is above water. Change the water weekly. In a few weeks to a couple months, roots will form. When the roots are 2 to 3 inches long, plant it in soil. You can also plant cuttings directly in moist potting mix. Now let's talk about common problems. Let's go through them one by one. Problem 1. No fenestrations. The leaves are solid with no splits or holes. This is usually not enough light. Move your Monstera to a brighter spot. Young plants also take time to mature. Be patient. Problem 2. Yellow leaves. Can be overwatering, underwatering, or nutrient deficiency. Check the soil. If it's soggy, water less. If it's bone dry, water more. If neither, fertilize lightly. Problem 3. Brown leaf edges or tips. Low humidity or chemicals in tap water. Increase humidity. Switch to filtered or rainwater. Problem 4. Leaves curling. Underwatering or low humidity. Water deeply. Increase humidity. Problem 5. Brown spots with yellow halos. Usually a fungal or bacterial infection. Remove affected leaves. Don't mist. Improve air circulation. Let the soil dry out more between waterings. Problem 6. Drooping leaves. Thirst or root rot. Check the soil. If it's dry, water. If it's wet, you may have root rot. Problem 7. Pests. Monstera can get spider mites, mealybugs, thrips, and scale. Spider mites leave fine webbing. Mealybugs look like white cotton. Thrips leave silvery scars. Scale looks like small brown bumps. For all, wipe with rubbing alcohol on a cotton swab or use neem oil or insecticidal soap. Isolate the plant. Problem 8. Root rot, caused by overwatering or poor drainage. Signs are yellow leaves, mushy stems, and a bad smell from the soil. Take the plant out of the pot, cut away rotten roots, repot in fresh, dry soil. Water less. Here's where you come in. Drop a comment below. Do you use a moss pole for your Monstera? How big are your leaves? I'd love to know. Now let's talk about repotting. Monstera needs repotting every 1 to 2 years in spring. Go up 1 pot size. Use fresh, chunky soil mix. Don't go too big. A pot that's too large holds too much water and can lead to root rot. After repotting, water lightly and keep in bright, indirect light. Now let's talk about cleaning leaves. Monstera leaves are large and glossy, but they collect dust. Dust blocks light. Wipe the leaves with a damp cloth once a month. Don't use leaf shine sprays. They clog the pores of the leaves. For a natural shine, use a mix of water and a drop of mild soap. Let me give you a few quick answers to common questions. How big do Monsteras get indoors? With good care, 6 to 10 feet tall and wide. They can be pruned to stay smaller. Are Monsteras toxic to pets? Yes, Monstera contains calcium oxalate crystals, which are toxic to cats and dogs. Keep them out of reach. Why is my Monstera dripping water from the leaves? That's transpiration. It's normal. The plant is releasing excess water. Why are my new leaves small and solid? The plant needs more light or more maturity. Can I put my Monstera outside in summer? Yes, in bright shade, no direct sun. Bring it back inside before temperatures drop below 60 degrees. Let's wrap everything up. Monstera is a stunning, fast-growing houseplant. Give it bright, indirect light for big, fenestrated leaves. Water when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil are dry. Use chunky, well-draining soil with perlite and orchid bark. Provide a moss pole for support. This is key for big leaves. Give it warmth and humidity. Fertilize monthly in spring and summer. Propagate by stem cuttings in water. Wipe the leaves clean. Here's the most important thing to remember. Monstera wants to climb. Give it a moss pole and it will reward you with huge, split leaves. Give it bright, indirect light and those leaves will fenestrate. Give it a chunky potting mix and let it dry out between waterings and it won't rot. Follow these simple rules and your Monstera will become the showpiece of your plant collection. Before you go, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. Do you have a Monstera? What's the biggest leaf you've gotten? I'd love to see it. Also, what plant should I cover next? Pothos? Philodendra? Alocasia? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care of your plants, and they'll take care of you. See you in the next video.